Okay, so I have here with me Mr. Henry Fadipe, fresh off his win at KSW. He's been quite active since he's come back. He's also entered the rankings in KSW as well, so a couple more fights to be looking at the title shot. How are you? Thank you very much for joining me. And how did it feel to get the victory a couple of weeks back?
Oh man, thanks for having me. We've been trying to have this interview, we've been trying to have this interview for how many weeks now? It's finally happened. Yeah, man, it feels amazing, man. To be back in the winning column, especially after what happened in the previous fight.
And then obviously since you came back, you were on such a run. You were just flatlining people, Peruvian neckties. You were just everything was coming out of the bag. And how did it feel once that loss came? How were you feeling with that? And then what did you do to help you come back and win the next fight?
Man, it was fucking annoying. It was annoying as hell, man, because like my record, right, my record isn't the greatest, from the beginning. So any blemishes like that is not welcomed at all. Yeah, it got to me when it happened, but it wasn't so bad because like it was a decision. It was a fucked up decision. It wasn't like I got knocked out, whatever. It was a stupid decision. I have to move from it.
Yeah, you spoke about your record there, but we actually spoke, obviously, we spoke on MMA in depth. When you first went in, a lot of your losses came kind of at the start when you were kind of
Yeah,
everyone was still figuring out in Ireland at that stage. So if they look on your previous what 6, 7 fights, it's like 6-1 or 5-1, 6-1, that sort of thing.
yeah.
So this is the 2.0 version of yourself going forward, and you've come back with a vengeance. What like you said, it got you, and then what is it like for a fighter once you lose a fight? Because people say when you win a fight, that feeling doesn't stay that long. You want to go in again, but the losing feeling seems to stay with you a bit longer. Or have you learned
Yeah.
how to put that aside and then just move on to the next?
No, man, it stings. It continues on to sting, but we try to mask it with more wins. Trying to lap wins over it. But yeah, no, yeah, it's not a nice feeling, man. Fuck it. You put so much work into it. You put like months, and you kill yourself over something, and you don't get the result, and it's literally you feel like it's like, what did I do all that for? Like, you know, no, it's gut wrenching, man.
Yeah, no, I can imagine because obviously I don't fight, but I've seen what you've put in. I've been to all the gyms. I've been to your gym with you, and I see like what you go through on a daily basis. And that's one of the cool things about this sport, I think, is both people will put in maximum effort and one person has to lose. Do you think that's where a lot of the respect factor
That
becomes?
is, that's exactly what I was about to speak about it, actually. Yeah, but that's why, like, you see me after the fight, I always go up and I genuinely feel for them because I know, like, these are guys on the same path as I am. You know what I mean? So, like, when after I win, like, I celebrate, but at the same time, I feel like, a lot of sympathy for my opponent because I know the work that goes into the gym, man. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's a long, and like you said, it's not even just a couple of months, it's years and years. It's basically been your
Yeah,
life up until this stage. And when you,
yeah.
with the,
Apart from even like just like the work put in, Kashabovsky he was going for the title as well, like, what I mean. So this is dreams and years of like just programming his brain, like, like, just one moment, boom, it's like it feels like he's knocked back how many steps. Like, I've been there, I know what it feels like, man. It sucks.
yeah, and speaking of people going towards the title, you obviously entered the KSW rankings. I believe it was number 8 you entered back into.
Yeah.
So do you feel obviously you're on the path to title? Do you think there's a number of fights you have to get before you'll get that title shot, or are you just looking at the next fight that you have?
So like, I'm in the top 10 now. Like, literally at this point, anything can happen. It could be have one fight in straight to the side. It could be two, could be another three, depending on who the opponent is and how I perform. You know. So, yeah, man. I think maybe two more fights and we'll be going for gold. Like, I have an idea of who I think they might match me against. It's not gonna be easy fights, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, so you want that's obviously you've gone to KSW. We spoke privately before because I've seen you at shows or we speak as well. That KSW, I believe, is like very underrated. I think like for the crowds it brings in, the fights that it provides, I think it gets overlooked a lot. When KSW came to you, with the offer. What was your first reaction? Because, like I said, I think they're probably the biggest one in Europe. If you look at attendances and fights and stuff like that, I think they are the biggest. But it doesn't seem to get the mainstream attention as the likes of the Cage Warriors or the other ones. What was your reaction when they came to you?
My reaction was fuck yes, let's fucking go. That's exactly what I'm like, yes, it's about fucking time, man. Yeah, man. Like we've had a question about the recognition. Personally, I think it's a lot to do with the language barriers and like the companies that's like back KSW, they're all like Eastern European. They're very focused heavily on that side of the world for some reason. I don't know why. Like personally, I think they should invest more in trying to branch out to this side because like it's an amazing show, you know. They've got amazing fighters and amazing fights.
Yeah, and you've seen the likes of PFL have come into Europe as well. Octagon, which is mainly an Eastern European one, is they're coming into this market as well. I think KSW would do well because obviously they've had the likes of Norman Park in there. His fights with Gamrots are absolutely legendary in KSW, I believe.
Um,
Like I watched them, they're absolutely unbelievable. But I think they do well coming over. Is it something that like if KSW came to Dublin, would that be a dream for you to
Man, I've heard rumors of them because they've been to the Tree Arena before. I've heard rumors that they plan to come back, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna be a big part of that show when it happens. We can have a title defense, or even fighting for the title here in Dublin. That'd be something special, you know.
Yeah, because like that, you fought a lot away. I know you came back for Cage Legacy that time. You came back on a week's notice. You fought at Clan Wars, but to fight for someone like KSW in the Tree Arena, like you fought in the Tree Arena before,
Yeah, that was Bama.
yeah, Bama back in the day.
Yeah.
To come now with the second version of yourself, uh, with how you've been performing, like would that be a dream for you to come back and main event?
That would be big dream come true, man. That would be it's a headline to arena. That was something special.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. It's a fantastic arena. I've been there for a couple of shows now as well, and like that, the crowd, the Irish crowd they're always rowdy, and they'll always get behind everyone that fights from Ireland. But I met you there recently at Cage Conflict where you were doing cornering. Tell me what it's like. Obviously, you're in Phantom again. We spoke about this before. I think it's very underrated. I think it is got to do with the language barrier because I've tried to talk to some of the lads and get them on, but obviously because of the English. But I've told them they can bring someone on and translate because
Yeah.
I want to get their stories as well, like because it quite interests me. How did you find cornering? I Dimitri won, Alexandru,
Alex, yeah,
and then obviously
baby sniper.
Vladimir lost against a very good Tiernan Loughran though. And he obviously deserved that spot to be there because I rate Vladimir very highly. What was it like cornering, like when you see these guys coming up? Because you would have came up a couple of years ago, but like with the knowledge you have now passing on to them, what's it like cornering your teammates at these shows for them winning belts?
It's amazing, man. Because like when you see that, you can kind of like put yourself like in that position. It brings back a lot of memories, and like the guys like they deserve everything they're getting, man. Like the work they put in deserves to be there, and it's like to be honest, I wish I worked as hard as they did back then. Like I see, like oh man, it's amazing. Like another thing, like when I get there and I'm getting them ready for the fight, I'm so glad that I'm not the one fighting. Like just the feeling that I can eat what I want. I'm not stressing about. It's just, all that combined. It just makes it. Oh, it's amazing. It's fucking amazing, man.
And obviously, you had three of them there. There's a lot more guys from your gym that I'm quite interested in as well. What, like, when you look at those guys now at the level they're at, and when you were their age, obviously MMA wasn't as developed as it is now. Like, even the guys underneath them, like the younger guys, like, what is the talent coming from Phantom underneath? I can only imagine it's scary, like what's coming up underneath those guys, even the younger generation.
Yeah, man, these guys are bred into this. They're bred into this kind of sport environment. Like the Moldovan guys, like there's a lot of Moldovans and like Eastern European, like as you know from Phantom, and they come in with this hunger, man, this dedication that you don't see from from anywhere else. super dedicated in the gym all the time, training all the time, and you just like they put me to shame sometimes. Almost put me to shame. Like I'm the one meant to be, I have to catch up to these lads. But man, like there's some talent, and I'm excited and scared because I'm gonna be final at some point. I'm gonna be fighting the likes of these, like and it's yeah, it's scary, but it's
No,
looking really.
it is good. I've seen some of the Phantom guys warm up. My God,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like
You know what I'm talking about.
it's like
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
and when they get in there, it's like they get. I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's just the way they design, or is it like when they're in there, the adrenaline is then pumping. So they're because you know why some people are slow to start. I
Yeah,
don't know if that helps them because once they go in there, from the first bell to the final bell,
yeah.
going, and I've seen that, and like that, they'll sit down, and I've seen people go, "Oh, he looks gassed after the first round," but then he comes out second round, and it's the same. But when people go, "Oh, he's gassed," I think most if you look at the UFC, they all sit down during the breaks, but like Phantom is 100% from start to finish. Like it's unbelievable. Um, but for you and yourself for this year, obviously you fought recently. Have they come to you with another fight, or have you expressed a date that you'd like to fight? Is there a number of fights you'd like to get before the end of the year?
Yeah, I definitely like to have at least one MMA fight. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this just yet, but I've been asked to do a K1 fight, and outside the KSW. I haven't done K1 since 2013, 2013, 2014. Yeah, it should be good to get me ready for the next fight, especially chopping up some other skills I haven't focused on as much. KSW possibly December, November, December, hopefully, but definitely one before the end of the year.
You know, we'd all like to see you back in because, like I said, you've made a real splash. And when we were looking for people for MMA in depth, and we put out who do people want, you got a lot of votes. Like you've been
Yeah.
around for a long, long time, and that's what a lot of people were saying is no one wanted to fight you. Like no one wanted to fight when you came back and you fought Ali. After that, no one in Ireland really wanted to touch
Yeah,
it.
you remember that with what's the name? The Italian guy, the UFC guy that I was supposed to fight in Cage Warriors.
The Italian guy.
Pedersoli.
You were supposed to fight him. You were supposed to fight Trickus to
Yeah,
well, or
Carlos and Pedro. Pedersoli. Remember him?
yes.
Yeah. After that, and then it was like how many pullouts? Like six or seven freaking pullouts after that. I didn't fight for another year.
Like, how frustrating is that for you when you wanted to come back, you wanted to be active? How frustrating is it that you come back, you have, and then it's just pull out after pull out after pull out? Like, how demotivating is that for you when you're putting in the work day in, day
No,
out?
it wasn't motivating. It was encouraging. It was encouraging. Like, if this guy, I must be doing something right. If everyone's running, that was not. That was encouragement. It was like, okay, I'm doing something right. At least,
Yeah, like that. Obviously, if they see what you're doing and they don't want to fight you, but then like
Exactly. Yeah.
when you get to the KSWs and you get to the bigger shows, like obviously you're on KSW, like we said, probably the biggest show in Europe. Won't be able to turn down those fights because if they want to progress their career, and
Exactly. Exactly.
is that why you like being in an organization like that? Because everyone's going to be game. There's going to be no pullouts, obviously, barring injuries. But everyone wants to fight the best in those kind of organizations.
Yeah, that plus like I want to be champion in on like, something that stands out. Like, and I want the Cage Legacy belt. That was amazing, and everything. But I want to, like, I want to hold that, something solid again. Like, I don't know what the plan is for afterwards. I don't know if there will be an afterwards, but I want to get to that position I was before.
Yeah, and you've been working like that since you've come back. You've been on the run. You've been working for it, and then like if you get one more fight at the end of the year, do you have obviously don't talk about this if you can't. Do you have a set amount of fights left on a contract?
So no, I have one fight left on this contract. This is the last one, and then uh, regardless, depending on the outcome and like whatever, we'll get another contract afterwards. But the way things are going, and that's obviously that's a given. Like
Yeah, especially with them putting you into the rankings, and
exactly.
one thing I seen about you as well is, or that I've noticed is when you went to KSW, your fan base has obviously wide, like you fans from everywhere because you fought in so many different promotions on
Exactly. Yeah.
continents. How does it feel still to get people like from Poland saying, I can't wait for you to come back, I can't wait for you? What kind of a feeling is that? I can only imagine.
Right, oh, bro, I can't even explain, man. I'm getting messages like people like just encouraging people asking for advice, and just people who don't even speak English, so they're using like Google Translate, and everything's all backwards, and so I'm like having to like trying to understand what they're saying. It's super motivating, man, and it's it fills my heart with so much joy. Like it makes me want to go back. Like there's like people ask me like where do I want to go after kids. They'll be like right now, man. I'm loving it, not just because of that, not just because of the show, because of everything else around it as well, including this.
Yeah, and like that, because obviously you're a fighter, you're in there to fight business, but you're also a person at the end of the day. So like when stuff like that happens, and if people say like you make me want to, like, has people ever said that you inspire them, that they want to fight because you
Yeah, yeah.
like that must be a good feeling to think that you could potentially change someone's direction in life with what you're doing. And did you ever think of that happening when you first started up MMA? Did you ever think it was going to
Man,
be?
so I got a message. I was talking to someone, asking me for advice and like saying, "Oh, do I have my last fight?" And I was like, just probably having chats. And then I was like, "Oh, how old are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm 13." She's a 13-year-old girl, man. I was just saying, having a conversation, like giving advice and whatever. I'm like, "Oh, so I have to be careful." But like, she's telling me about stuff like her love for fucking KSW and how she wants to be in the UFC. So like, just messages like that. It like, you see my fan appreciation post.
Yes.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like man, it fills me with so much joy to be able to give even the most minuscule, like to change someone's life in the tiniest way. Like fucking man, fuck the money, fuck everything else, man. Just to help better somebody, man. For me, that's what's on its own.
Yeah, no, it is. And like that, I've seen that over the past couple of months. I've seen a lot of things come up about you, people doing profiles and stuff on you, and like that. Like if you can change someone's life or you can help someone's life for the betterment with what you're doing, like you said, money can come and go. But I think one of the
Exactly,
greatest values that someone has is how you treat people and how you could potentially, like you said, inspire or change people. I think that's more powerful than money in my mind.
exactly.
And also, so you're looking for one fight before the end of the year. Obviously, you're hoping on a new contract. When you heard these rumors of KSW thinking of Dublin, because I'd seen that posted on your page that someone had shared it, was there any time frame in that? Just rumors at the minute.
I think I heard something about next year, but no, there's no time frame on it just yet. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be dropping into either. Like, but no, there's no incentive when.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, hopefully, I'd love KSW to come here. I think that'd be a fantastic show. I think it'd sell out the Tree Arena, and then obviously you main event, and it would be absolutely
Yeah,
awesome.
man, we'll get the belt next year, and then the first defense will be here in the street arena.
We'll have to, if you get that belt next year, you can have one more fight, another one maybe, and then title shot, win the belt. They have to come back here. We'll start a petition. We'll get it going.
Exactly. There you go. There
KSW,
you go.
the power of the people will get KSW back here and get you as the main event as the title holder.
Amen. Amen to that.
Perfect, perfect. So other than obviously what you want to do for it, is there anything else going on? Is there anything else you're looking at for the rest of the year other than that K1 fight, or are you just going to keep grinding and grinding until you get the call?
So since after my last fight, man, I've been stuffing my face. I'm getting fat. I haven't checked my weight. I'm too scared to check my weight right now. I'm genuinely too scared to check my weight. Yes, I'm currently enjoying life. I'm not training. I'm training, but I'm training like training for a fight. I'm coasting. Uh, yeah. So November possibly will be the next one. If something comes before that, man, I drop on that straight away. I get ready. I'll be ready in a week for that. But yeah, until something else comes up, November's probably possibly the next one.
Yeah, because you jumped off a plane before, text to Johnny Redmond, and then you came back and
You let me know,
and,
bro.
and, and took the title. But obviously, once because your cancer so intense leading up, and after once the fight is over, and you can go back to kind of, I don't want to say normal life, but you can eat a bit more. How enjoyable is that to go back to being able to eat? Because people don't understand like the sacrifices you make. Like, what are the biggest sacrifices you make? I would say for one, for me, would be food probably because
Bro, I'm a big foodie, man. I'm a big foodie. I'm a big foodie. Me, my daughters, my partner, we're big foodies, so having to cut that out and them trying to adjust to mine, like me telling them, oh no, it's okay, you can eat what you want in front of me, like all that. Oh man, stress.
yeah, because like for me, if I just say, right, I'm going on a diet, I've got 6 weeks, and you know, if I walk in, there's a chocolate there, I can go, do you know what? Feck, I can have it. You know, whereas you can't. You have to say, like, how hard is it when you see like that your family, your friends eating food around you, and you're just like, oh, I love that. Like, how hard is that temptation to just stop? Like, how much discipline? Like, that is the real discipline, I think, because that's one of the easiest ways I think for people to slip. I think.
Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot. But the thing is, like, while I'm eating it, like, what I think about is like that feeling of after I win that fight, that feeling of standing there in the cage, holding my hand up. Like, this is something only I can experience. They'll never experience that. After this, I can go back to eating as much chocolate as I want. So it's only temporary. I'm gonna experience the feeling that no one else is gonna experience. So that's what I think about like when all that happens. So it motivates me more.
Yeah, and tell us what that feeling is like when you're getting your hand raised in front of all those people. People are calling your name, people are cheering you. Like what? Like people say they go into like tunnel vision when they're in the fight, that they can only really hear the corner and kind of they zone in what's. But once obviously you win the fight, that's all released. What's it like standing there in a stadium with 4KSW with all these fans getting your hands raised after all the hard work you put in?
Man, you get this dump of adrenaline. Like you stand there, you think you're tired, and then after that, you just get this dump of adrenaline. Like where the hell was this when I was fighting? Like why did I have this energy when the fight was going on? It's like you can only experience, and it was like I say a lot, man. It's something you can only experience. You can't explain.
Yeah, yeah, and like that, you were talking about your training, obviously in between fights, when you're not in fight camp, that you're not going to be going hard, intense training. Once you know there's a fight coming up, is there something that just switches in your brain? Okay, you've got a fight, you've got a date, you've got an opponent, and then once that happens, so is there a switch, or do you just say to yourself, right, this is it, I'm training for him, and then the intensity just
For,
goes back
for
up?
me, most of the time is as soon as the poster's made, as soon as they put that poster up, that's when it hits me. Like even like I could have signed a contract for 2 months. I'd be like kind of pitter patter in my head, like trying to focus. So as soon as I see that poster made, boom, that's just like okay, now it's on. That's the switch for me. Once I see the poster, boom, once it's plastered, that's it.
And then
Like the
that
focus, like all the urges to nibble at food, I'm not supposed all that just goes out the window. Like okay, like I can't do this no more. It's time.
And then like that, you get there, you get to the fight. Like what? Just talk to us maybe about what the crowd is like in KSW, because I know a lot of Polish people. I worked in Lidl for years and Aldi, so 90% of the people I worked with were Eastern European, Lithuanian, or Polish, and they love fighting. What's it like being around people that just love fighting? Because I think you spoke about there being a language barrier, but I think the fight language is
Right,
universal.
exactly. Universal, yeah. So unfortunately, all my fights in Poland have been in my opponent's hometown. So not just Poland, I'm always fighting guys in their hometown. So it doesn't like the Stanek one, I it was hard to that was the first time I experienced that anyway to begin with. When I heard some people booing and all this kind of shit, it was like, I didn't like it, but then you have to think, okay, this is this guy's hometown. If it was the other way around, it'd be the same thing. I'm always the underdog in someone else's hometown, so yeah, you learn to use that as motivation. Like it's annoying, but
It is because, like I said, you both go in there, you both train hard, but obviously they're going to be. It's like if you came to Ireland, we're going to be booing the other guy.
that's what I mean. Like that's what I mean. If it was the other way around, it'd be the same thing. So it's not. I don't take it personal.
And then like that, but then after the fight, it's all respect between the fans, yourself, and then your opponent as well. So like it all comes through. It's just the heat of the moment, the battle, everything that
Yeah,
leads up to it. But I hope to see you back in the cage soon. I can't wait. I've really enjoyed this little spell that you've had coming back, and you've always been very good to me. You've done in depth.
man. When you come to Poland, when you come to one of the fights,
Oh, if you they're usually on a Saturday night, aren't they?
yeah,
When it gets booked, text me and I look at flights.
I'll do that.
Okay, I look at flights. I'll try to get KSW to pay for me to come over, and I'm only messing.
Yeah, why not, man? Why not?
I'd actually love Ron to come over, but he's full-time chefing at the minute, so it's the MMA in depth is slow down a bit. But and that's got to do with my work commitments as well. But like that, you've always been very good to me. I've enjoyed this little spell. I was glad. I really enjoyed your story in MMA in depth, and I can't wait to see it unfold and continue. Is there anything you want to say before we go as well? And I want to thank you for your time. Like I said, we've been trying to get this for about 2 weeks now, and it just hasn't worked out.
Our first interview is finally done.
It's finally done, and it wasn't cursed at the end. Sometimes things just happen for a
A
reason.
month later, literally a month later, like.
Yeah, apologies on my behalf as well.
Nah, it's all good, man. Just fucks up on my side too.
Uh, Perfect. So, is there anything you want to say before you go?
Thanks for having me again, man. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Perfect.
Yeah,
It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see you back in the cage like that. Two more fights, title, KSW back in Dublin, 3 Arena. That's what's going to happen. That's what we want, and we're going to get it done.
you know this, man. Amen.
Perfect.